There are spoilers for Murderbot S1E9, All Systems Red, which was written by Paul and Chris Weitz and directed by Roseanne Leong, in the recap that follows. At the start of Murderbot S1E9, the Preservation Alliance is getting ready to face GrayCris. The strategy that Murderbot, Alexander Skarsgård, mentioned at the close of last week's episode seems to have been accepted by everyone. Everyone is moving on with Murderbot's proposal despite Gurathin's, David Dastmalchian, disapproval because his other plan doesn't go beyond the suggestion that they should think of something else. This entails Murderbot traveling alone to meet GrayCris, while Gurathin and Pin-Lee, Sabrina Wu, launch a drone so that, if Murderbot grants them access, Gurathin may hack GrayCris to activate their emergency signal. Akshay Khanna's Ratthi and Tamara's Bharadwaj to establish this connection on their end. Arada, Tattiawna Jones, and Podemski have remained at the PresAux environment. According to the strategy as it has been outlined, Mensah, Noma Dumezweni, is tasked with staying in the hopper, but it's unclear what else she is expected to do. The Murderbot supports GrayCris. Thanks to Apple TV+. Naturally, Murderbot has made a few false statements regarding the specifics of its plan because it could have anticipated the opposition expressed by the PresAux people, and it is best to stay away from all of that. This does provide a point where you could have questioned whether Murderbot was indeed planning to defraud its patrons, just as it shows up to meet GrayCris. However, this is over really quickly. The strategy is to feign betraying its customers. This is effective because GrayCris consents to link their systems to the PresAux systems, which enables Gurathin to compromise their emergency beacon. However, this leads to the other aspect of Murderbot's scheme, which it has concealed. GrayCris is informed that the Preservation Alliance has gone to manually release the beacon, and it soon becomes evident that the plan is to entice GrayCris to the launch pad in order for them to all perish when the beacon is activated. Although PresAux detests the thought of murder, they comply since they are unable to find another way out of the predicament they find themselves in. Regretfully, GrayCris demands that Murderbot go with them to the launch pad, which implies Murderbot demise as well. Gurathin's drone is destroyed by some sort of bird, but he manages to enter the GrayCris habitat covertly and resumes his system hack. However, this causes the emergency beacon launch to be delayed to the point where Murderbot must stop in order to prevent GrayCris from leaving the site if they don't see PresAux present. In the meantime, Mensah has made the decision to fly the hopper to the launch pad because she believes they can spare GrayCris' life. They can discuss it. Mensah offers GrayCris information regarding alien remnants in return for Murderbot when she gets there, but their leader, Amanda Brugel, laughs at the notion and says they'll just torture Mensah into giving it to them. Someone eventually discovers that Murderbot has been quoting from Sanctuary Moon when it offers to perform the torture, and a heated argument ensues. Finally, right before the emergency beacon goes off, Murderbot seizes Mensah and leaps from the launch pad. When they strike the earth below, Murderbot uses its body to protect Mensah from the impact, while all of the GrayCris people and SEC units who were still alive at the time most likely perish in the explosion. When the episode comes to a close, Gurathin and Pin-Lee discover Mensah and Murderbot, who is barely breathing. However, it's safe to assume that the TV show's title character has some storyline armor. It really comes down to who fixes it, in my opinion. Mensah kneels over a Murderbot that has been injured. Thanks to Apple TV+. Our team has successfully launched an emergency beacon with one episode remaining in the season, which should indicate that the corporation is on the verge of saving them. Of course, the corporation's utter evilness is a wrinkle, but at least our companions ought to be able to leave this planet where they've been stuck. Unless the season takes a different turn, final. I'll see you next week.